Legend, you're in for a treat. It's a bonus drop. Joey the Prophet's got a legend in the hot seat. From Cairns to Campbelltown, the crowds would cheer. When Rowdy hit the line, defenders disappeared. With fire in his stride and origin pride, he carved up the field like a crimson tide. Joey's got Rowdy, it's time to dive deep. From origin nights to memories we keep. It's a ruck infringement and extra feed. With tales from a legend and the Rowdy speed.
Legends, welcome back to another guest interview for the Ruck Infringement Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joey. This week's celebrity guest is none other than Dale Shearer. Dale, how you going, mate?
Good, thanks, Joey, and welcome to all the listeners out there.
Yes, absolutely, mate. Thank you for jumping on. It's a privilege to have you. Of course, for those that don't know you, let's start off with who is Dale Shearer?
Look like twinsies, mate, with these jerseys on.
We do, mate, we do.
I got the France one. What are you wearing?
2005, I think, alternate.
Righty. Dale Shearer, as in when, mate? Birth, footy.
Yeah,
What
Tell us about your early life. Was it always rugby league? Did you play as a young bloke?
No, well, it always was rugby league, but it's pretty handy at a few other sports. Born in St George, out west Queensland, west of Brizzy, 1965. Dad was a teacher principal, so we did move around a bit. We went back to Warwick in 1970. That was my first rugby league game that I'm aware of, under fives for the Warwick Blues. Went back out to St George in 77 when Dad went from teacher to principal. Played for the Panthers out there, won the premiership. And the next year we went back to North Ipswich, which Alfie Lang has played with his brother Neville. All the Langer boys are pretty handy, and they were playing for time. Alfie was 1 year under me. I played with his brother Neville. We won 2 premierships in the Ipswich comp, and then they put us in the Super A comp because we had a very, very strong side. We had about 4 or 5 Queenslanders in that North Ipswich under 15 side. We won the Brisbane comp. And then from Ippy, went up to Serena, where I played under 17s in the morning at the age of about, 16. Used to play under 17s about 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, and then play A grade in the Arvo. It might have been a 1:30, 3:30 game. And in the middle, I was playing a bit of baseball in between, but it all became too much. I was selected in the Queensland under 13s, 15s, and even that year I didn't play all year, but they still picked me in the under 18 team as I had a scholarship to go to America for baseball. So, but unfortunately, not very strong up north, and it was mainly the cricketers playing in their off season. So I just couldn't, play under 17 and go and play baseball for a few hours, and then come back and play an A grade in the Arvo was all a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
And obviously things went on from there. Obviously that's when I got recognised, Serena. First A grade game, Mackay, North Queensland, Queensland Country, Queensland Residents. And next year down to Manly, played Origin and Australia that year in New Guinea, and Kangaroo Tour 1986, and she took off from there.
Jeez, mate, it all happened. Let's start off now with a couple of rugby league idols. When we're young guys, we all have rugby league idols we look up to. Who were yours?
I wasn't so much, because I was born in St George, same colours out there, white with the red V, the old plain Jane jersey in the day, but Slippery Morris.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, little Stevie. And Rod Reddy, Craig Young. Didn't particularly follow, I just think because I followed St George, they're guys that I did follow, or mainly stuck in my head because they're probably the original ARL players that I did follow, because I never even, I didn't even play in the Brisbane comp, so I went straight to Sydney. But I do remember them names, and Rocket, Rod Reddy, actually, is a bit of a legend. Not a bit of a legend, he's a legend, yeah.
Yeah, nice, mate. Now, let's talk about making your debut. Obviously, you debuted for Manly. Take us through what that was like, and especially when you're young. Was it nerve wracking? Was it exciting? Take us through your debut.
Yeah, well, I nearly didn't get there for starters. My wife at the time was 16. I just turned 19, and we're going to Manly, and I'd just been a country boy. We got about 20 minutes south of Serena. I said, I'm not going. Let's go back. We only got Manly 10 grand. Mackay, Serena put their heads together and offered me 10 grand to stay in Serena and Mackay. And I just said, we might as well go back. And she said, no, we're packed, we're going, let's go. So it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have ever got there. We did get there that night. Stayed at Dee Dee's in Brookie. So the money wasn't too good. That was just a pub hotel they put us up at. And then the thing those days was the funnel web spiders. We
Yeah.
got some dangerous snakes in North Queensland, but she got bitten. I thought, oh, holy shit, here we
Oh
go.
no.
Middle of the night, but I running around looking everywhere. All we could find was a cockroach. That was a warm welcome. Can't take cockroaches. But yeah, I realised after going to training, I like to think I'm pretty fit and did a lot of,
Mm.
as I'm known for a bit of a closet trainer, I love doing the extra training. I know that's what got me to where I got to and what I achieved. And I realised at the time I've got to do a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
And after I sort of saw their beep tests and their 2100s and sprints and stuff, I trained
Mm.
for about 3 days straight to get to the top of the tree with everything. So I think Desi
Oh,
Hassel
wow.
is a real competitor, but I got there, and I absolutely certain Bob Fulton noticed that, acknowledged it, and gave me the opportunity straight up in A grade for my first game. And I would have been excited. I can't really remember, but
Yeah.
I'm very motivated and very competitive, and that showed in training. And once I got out in the field, I would have wanted to prove the same.
Yeah. Nice, mate. You got the nickname Rowdy. Can you tell us where that came from?
Came from Crusher Cleo. But back in the day, everyone thinks it is rowdy because I get a bit rowdy now. I have a bit of a good time, as good as I can anyway. Maybe a bit too good sometimes. But it was the complete opposite then. A little country boy lived in the bush all his life. I went down there, and as I said, I just put my head down, bum up, train, just focus on that. Really wasn't very talkative at all, hence the rowdy, just Australian people with their sense of humour. It was the complete opposite, but it stuck and still there today. And yeah, it's funny. A lot of people still yelling out rowdy when I'm running around town doing a road run or something.
I love it, mate. It's fantastic. From Manly, obviously, you had a little stint in the Super League, came back for Manly, and then played for the Seagulls and the Broncos as well. Mate, have you got any fantastic memories from a couple of those clubs you can share with us?
Yeah, no, I never went to Super League. I stayed RRL the whole time. I went from Broncos to Gold Coast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then just wasn't enjoying myself at all at the Broncos. We've
Yeah.
actually had an origin side, but flat out winning the game. We couldn't even make the finals. It was just no patterns, no plays, and I don't
Mm.
care. Wayne Better had no idea in the day, and I expressed that to him, and that didn't go down too well. But you can see by the results in the field that we weren't doing that well. And I was trying to introduce, because I was under Bob Fulton, who was way ahead of his time, very clever man. We used to watch the
Yeah.
videos. So I wanted to get out of there. They wouldn't let me go. And the next year I asked to go again. They wouldn't let me go. Finally let me go. And I ended up down the Gold Coast, where Wally took over. But they got in a bit of financial strife. They went to the Crushers. They got into a bit of financial strife with the Super League. So their poor buggers. Then I thought I'd retired, and Gus Gill gave me a ring and said, I want to coach you. You want to come down the Roosters? And I thought, yeah, well, I've still got a bit in me, so I'm happy to keep playing. But I'll be honest, I forgot your question to start with.
Oh, I just said, yeah, just share some memories with those clubs and what it was like. You
Oh,
answered it well. You answered it
okay.
very well.
Yeah, well, back to me. I should never ever left, but so my wife was 16, and her parents let her come down there and live, and she was so close to mum.
Mm.
Unfortunately, you probably know she passed away at a young age, 39. So anyway, glad to get back and spend a lot of time with her mum and family. But I wish I never left there. I believe I'd still be there and could have even had a lot better career if I stayed at Manly. I didn't imagine that I was going to continue in that same vein and continue to represent for 10, 13 years. Origin Australia. But anyway, we did make the move back and fortunate enough to still at those various clubs. I said I wasn't happy at the Broncos. Gold Coast, we struggle a lot. We just didn't. They're still doing the same. I don't know what goes on there. It's maybe too good a place to live. I'm here at the moment. Love it. But yeah, we just never really got going there, and they still haven't. Sadly, I really do hope they pick it up there. Love to see Des. Well, he'll be under the pump. Then back to the Crushers under Bobby Lindner. Bobby, yeah, we didn't do too well there. I fractured my hip actually in a trial game before we even played my first game. So I touched on it the other day. I think I missed the first 7 or 8 rounds. I think we'd only won one game. But I was lucky enough when I made my comeback for the Crushers, or first game for them. Scored 3 tries, and we give Parra a bit of a touch-up, who...
There we go. We're back. Sorry, I just paused it for a sec because it just cut out briefly. But yeah, we're back.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know where it stopped at, but yeah, that's just a bit of a wrap of clubs.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. The question I wanted to ask you was about, obviously you played over that Super League era. You say with the ARL, what was that like at the time to navigate for players? Because I know it was players were left in the dark. They didn't really know what was happening. Take us through all that.
I think they'll sign them in the dark too, the sneaky buggers. Yeah, as I was playing with called, I think they're at Hamilton actually. Might have been Snoz, Michael O'Connor. He became a sign-up person for the Super League. Yeah, I didn't get invited along, so I got brushed. But, still, that year went on to the 95 Neville's. We won the State Origin Series. But yeah, I was a bit left in the dark there myself, mate, in regards to the Super League and the Super League money. But I was quite happy to stay with the ARL, and as I said, it was a great year for us for Origin anyway. Supposed to get smashed by New South Wales. I think we got about 18 and a half point start. Fatty and I couldn't get enough money on. But it's our 30-year reunion. It's been absolutely terrific to catch up with all the players from the 95 series.
Mate, that's awesome. Let's chat Origin now. Obviously, you were lucky enough to even just play one game for Queensland. Mate, take us through what it was like playing for Queensland and, take us through some memories.
Yeah, well, obviously, it meant a lot more, to me, back in the day, because, we only had, if you didn't get the Sunday Arvo game or the ABC Arvo game, I just wanted my family and friends to see me in Queensland, but
Of
there was
course.
only, I think there's only 2 TV games back in the day. People have got the luxury of Fox these days and being okay, watch any game and every game whenever they like, but we weren't, you weren't able to do that. So it was really exciting to get a weekend game that was televised. I know Dad was right, and obviously Mum was keen too, but Dad just loved watching every game, and I've had cousins and family that did too. So that also touches on coming back to Queensland in Origin. It's just an unbelievable feeling, one really hard to explain. The first one, it was just a deafening roar, and as you took each step, it went silent as your foot hit the ground, and then the roar, and your foot hit the ground, it'd be just nothing, and then next minute roar. It was just, must have been just the effect of your feet hitting the ground, shattering up through your body to your ears. But once again, very special because you're coming, especially the ones in Queensland, they get the opportunity to see you play live, not only on TV. They can see on TV, but family, friends can come and actually to Lang Park, as it was back in the day, and watch you physically play, which they don't get the opportunity to. They didn't get. They could have flown down. There's that much money around now. Players are flying family and friends around left, right, and centre. But it was more special because you knew your family was there at Lang Park.
Yeah, mate. From there, let's talk about playing for Australia. You obviously got to represent your country. Take us through that. Was that really special as well?
Yeah, that nearly didn't happen again, but was the opposite this was the opposite this time. It wasn't thanks to my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but it was yeah. We went to the Daily M's the night before, and won. I think it was Daily M Representative Player of the Year. Got picked in the Kangaroo team. They told us to make sure we look after ourselves before we take off over to England, and Phil Blake talked me into going skiing. He lobbed up to my place at 7 in the morning. Said, "You ready to roll around?" I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "We're going skiing." I said, "Skiing where?" Never been skiing. I've never even seen the snow. He said, "Oh, last night you were all talk up." I've never even seen snow. He said, "Come on, we're going down to the mall. We're going to get some gear to go skiing." So off we trotted. And yeah, Delise and I were having a bit of fun trying to get used to it. And finally got up a bit higher and we said, "Right, off we go." And that, she just took off. And I thought, "Oh, here we go." I just mentioned I was competitive. She's about 20 metres. She just putting a bigger gap between us. And I thought, I'm doing my best. And I just couldn't catch her. And actually, I crashed into this tree.
Oh
And
no.
I'm just lying there. I've done my ligament medial. Not too bad, but it's bloody sore. And next when she comes back down the hill, "What are you doing?" I said, I was trying to catch you. It's no chance. I said, "You picked it up bloody quick." She said, "No, I just didn't know how to stop." So,
Oh.
I nearly missed. I nearly missed out. I did go on tour. I think I missed the first game. I didn't tell anyone that I'd done me down my knee. It wasn't too bad. I think I only missed. I can't remember the year. '86. Well, I know it was '86, but I'm pretty confident I missed the first test because of it. Um, but yeah, mate, that was. I got picked in the Australian team to go to New Guinea. That what do they call it? President's Cup side. So
Yep.
yeah, half a foot in the door, and yeah, the next year the Kangaroo Tour. So yeah, very fortunate. Age of 19, already won the premiership by then at Manly. Well, by '87, sorry, Kangaroo Tour. Played Origin. So yeah, very exciting times once I hit Sydney and just escalated with my career from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, did you have a funniest teammate or a couple of funny teammates that you played with? Who was the funniest?
I won't say funny. I like knocking around with Cliffy Lyons.
Yeah,
He likes to.
nice.
And, he got on the gas just quite a bit. I wasn't into that, but just he liked to have a good time, and just a little bit of a punt. Fatty introduced me to the punt, one of the worst things
Yeah.
ever. But anyway, yeah. I think I had $1 each way, and this Quinella, and I won $81. I thought, how long's this going on? I'm going to float up here. I think I ended up with $40 for the night. Started at $3. I thought, geez, this is too easy. But anyway, you got to really focus. I have got my own racing business that I supply tips to pubs and clubs and individuals.
Very nice.
Can't be betting on every race. You've got to just be very very selective there, and
Yeah.
check on track conditions and different distances and classes. There's a lot in it. I think most people fancy themselves, and half the time they may as well throw a dart. But yeah, Cliffy just stopped there, and I'm a big fan of Desi Haslas too.
Mm.
And Fatty, love He sort of took me under his wing because when I went to Manly, there was
Mm.
himself, Pauline McCabe, Kerry Boasted. Um, who else was there? Choppy, Chrissy Close,
Oh, yes.
and
Yeah.
Mark Pocock. So you felt a bit more at home. Plus they had them brown and white jerseys, so that probably helped a lot too.
Love it, mate. On the back of that, did you have a strangest teammate that you played with? Just a guy that was just weird?
Uh, there was a few of them. Well, just sort of do their own thing. Usually I like the punters and the drinkers, and we all seem to get on.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of drinkers, so there's a few of them around. Fair enough.
yeah,
Good luck.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I'm more. Let's go and have a beer and a bet, boys. That's the guys I'm going to hang out with.
yeah. Very nice, mate. Did you have a favourite coach that coached you?
Bobby Fulton was definitely right up there.
Yep.
And I think it helped having my father before I even went to that level. Just I had a really, really solid understanding of the game because I'd played various positions too before even,
Mm,
I've gone on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Queensland, but I was playing a lot of fullback centre, 5'8", even at a young age. Never the wing. I hated the wing. I just hated the wing. I don't know how I ended up. I think just small, come from the bush. He goes all right. We'll just throw him on the wing, see how he goes. But yeah, just looking through these jerseys, I've been offloading a number of 2s and 5s. I'm not a big fan. I would have rather Fulton put me straight into fullback, but I would have loved to play fullback early and 5'8" later date for Australia. But
mm.
I did eventually do it for Queensland. We control the game a bit more. But yeah, they're probably my favourite fullback 5'8". I've
Yeah,
got
very
side
nice.
question again, to be honest.
No, that's right. No, you answered it very well, mate. let's let's talk about finals. Now, you played in a couple of finals. What was the atmosphere like in finals footy compared to your regular season?
I can't really recall. Back then, we played at the SCG, mate. There's just the atmosphere's not there. You're too far away from the crowd. Someone just
Yeah.
mentioned on Facebook, I had my seagulls. He said that's one of the best places I love watching the game. And I said, mate, it was one of the best places I love playing the game. It was
Mm,
similar to Lane Park back in the day. Rectangle grandstand right on top of the action, and they're right on top of you. I just love the atmosphere, love the pressure.
yeah.
But yeah, the Gold Coast Stadium, and yeah, enjoyed playing the SCG not so much. You just felt you're out in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere, and the grand final was there. Brookie was great. Brookie was really good too. I like
Mm,
the old school rectangle feels, and there's a few around still back in the days with cricket fields in the off season. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
he was one of them. It was hard as bloody in it sometimes there. After they had a bit of rain, you had to play there a week later. It was bloody, yeah. It was pretty sharp and solid.
I love it, mate. I love it. Obviously, once you retired from the game, did you stay involved in rugby league at all?
I did mainly just coaching my boys and their
Yep.
teams, and even a couple of other teams. At one stage, I think I was coaching 4 different teams for Coolum Colts, just trying to help them get started. And then I really was keen to get them into A grade. Got a lot of sponsorship, probably more than the A grade teams, but they wouldn't allow us straight in because we didn't have an under 18s.
Mm,
Yeah, it goes back a while, but things went on from there, and they stuck with it. And we're in the 18s. We've got I think they're reserve grade, and my son's still playing A grade. The youngest, Jackson, they're undefeated.
yeah. Wow.
So it's good. We won the C grade comps because that's all they let us in, and we believe we're strong enough for A grade. I was still playing then. So we won a couple of C grade premierships, and they still wouldn't allow us into A grade. But we're there now. That's the main. They lost the grand final
Mm.
last year, which they should have won, and undefeated this year. But finals football is a lot different, and I mainly just stayed involved with the juniors and advancing that into a senior club.
Nice, mate. Now, what's one piece of advice you'd give a young guy or girl coming through the grades?
I usually mention you just make the most of the opportunities. They come and go, and I don't believe in luck. I just think that's where opportunity meets preparation. So
Yeah,
as I
awesome.
did training, and did a lot of kicking and a general field, and goal kicking, and you just got to keep practicing. You just got to keep practicing your little chip and chase, and you aim for the posts, and I'm kicking for goal side on the try line. Uh, just practice, but just make the most of that opportunity. It may never come along again.
Yeah, very nice. Mate, who was the best player you played alongside? Just an absolute freak in the game.
I'm a big fan of Greg Alexander, actually. Brandy
Oh,
was,
wow. You're nice.
yeah, man, he could do anything. He had a battle there with, he had bloody like Alfie in front of him on the tour.
Mm.
Sterlo, he went on the 86 tour with me. Sterlo's a halfback. Alfie was a halfback, 1990 there. And, yeah, he was up against it, but he, much like myself, played a lot of different positions. He could play any position in the back line, actually. So that was
Wow.
handy for him. But I roomed with him both times for 3 months. I got to know him quite well. He's a great guy. Um, yeah, just I mentioned him because I don't think he got, as much recognition as he could have.
Mm.
You got
Yeah,
to give Alfie, just because of his size back in the day, a bit of a rap.
of
And
course.
I play with Wally, but I just thought, oh yeah. But when you look at replays and they actually show stats, it just really shows how great a player Wally was. You
Mm.
look at and kick meters and all this stuff they do these days. And on the opposition, mate, I was a big fan of Brett Kenny, still am,
Oh,
champion.
yeah.
Him and I used to knock around the vodka and oranges over there singing Free Blue. We obviously had a few vodkas and we're singing and dancing together to that. But yeah, big fan of Bert. I liked the way back in the day he had that. Um, I'll just say swerve for lack of a better word. People could
Mm.
step run, but he also had I don't know, just a bit of a swerve.
Yeah, I love Bert. We've interviewed Bert as well. He's a fantastic character of the game. Mate, couple of questions before we finish off. The NRL has changed a lot, obviously, in the past 30, 40 years, and the rules have gotten a bit out of hand. What's one rule you would change if you could today?
The rule
Oh,
change, yeah, mate. Fair enough for some, and they've got to look to protect these players, but they've gone overboard and it's just to the point where these decisions are costing
yeah.
uh, teams wins, and it's frustrating. You blood, sweat, tears, bloody every weekend, week out, and someone else decides the outcome for you. I mean, you can train all
Mm.
you like, and they're making some very, very poor decisions, and to the point where they're losing fans, and even myself, mate. I've turned off and watched AFL if it just start to get pissed off with, especially when it affects the whole result of the game.
Yeah, I got to agree. It's one thing that drives me insane in rugby league today. Uh, Mates, we are halfway through the season. Who wins it from here?
Jeez, mate. Serena Crocodiles might pop up, mate.
That'd
Uh,
be good. That'd be
uh,
nice.
I don't know, mate. I'm
It's
sticking
tough.
with. Well, the Bulldogs have been very impressive. They got the
Mm.
ass walloped the other day by Dolphins, but they had some players out. But geez, you wouldn't have think that would have been the scoreline. I still, well, if they're there, they got the best of wins competitions.
Yeah.
Melbourne, I'd like to think they're consistent, but they've been a little bit up and down. And as you can see by the whole
Mm.
comment, people the week before picking none out of five and one out of eight. It's last week was probably the first. Well, not probably. It was the first week where the favourites, most of them, nearly, if not all of them, won. So
Yeah,
I
finally.
think, yeah, I've done the tips this week. I think it's very similar, but I went for Titans and an upset over the Broncos this week. They've beaten them 3 out of the last 4. Everyone's Broncos on paper should be in the top 3 or 4, but they're not. So
Yeah, a bit cooked at the moment, aren't they?
something's not right there.
Mm.
Definitely not right there. But so that's the only one I went. The Titans in an upset. Can't see them winning the premiership, but also Desi being a great friend. I hope they go on to bigger and better things the rest of the year. Uh, Mate, Storm Bulldogs. Storm
Yeah,
Bulldog.
they look very likely, don't they, mate? I'll give you a little smoky. Chooks to make a late charge. Semi Walker back next week. Chooks will be there.
Yeah, well, he was in excellent form, and it's a good problem to have. The other bloke's going bloody well too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't know where how they're squeezing them all in, but they've sort of been a little bit hot and cold. Been impressive when
Mm.
they have been, and made a little fight back last week, but that letting in too many points for me.
Yeah.
I just think defence wins games and especially finals.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, for sure. Well, mate, I want to thank you again for jumping on. I know we had a bit of technical difficulty there, but thank you so much. That's all we got time for on our interview today with the one and only Dale Rowdy Shearer. So we thank you again. You can check this out on YouTube and Spotify as well. Until next time, I'm Joey. That's Rowdy. Be good.
Well, be good at it.